Hey, everybody, and we are live with episode 25, and I'm rhyming like crazy this morning. Thanks for joining us, everybody, and thank you, Olivia, for pulling this all together.
Hey everybody! Don't do it, Mike. Don't do the rhyming.
That's it. That's it for the rhyming today. I'll try. But I wanted to start off before we even get to our sponsors. I would like to start off today and talk about that right over there. See that number 12? That is a Randall Cunningham jersey from when he played for the Eagles. Many of you may not realize he was playing for the Eagles. He was drafted in 1985 and played for the Eagles till 95. So that's how old that jersey is. It's actually maybe older than a lot of people tuning into this session, which just terrified me. But I am excited that my Philadelphia Eagles are going to the Super Bowl. So we will see those Chiefs and that dirty slide in Patrick Mahomes on February 9th. And hopefully we take this one and the refs don't help them out. So big props for the Philadelphia Eagles taking out the Commanders. Now, what I will tell you is that why this is even more special to me, why I was so elated on Sunday, besides the 55-23 shellacking of the Washington Commanders, who have a bright future. I was at the Eagles versus Commanders game in Northwest Stadium when Jalen Hurts got hurt in the first quarter. He got the concussion, and we were up 21-0 or something. And the Commanders came back and won at the last play of the game. And I had to walk to my car, and I had to walk around the whole stadium and through the parking lot. And I was in Eagles gear. And I will tell you, I got heckled unmercifully by those Commanders fans, like unmercifully. And what do you say? You just keep walking and don't say anything. But in my heart and in my head and in my soul, all I prayed for was to see the Commanders again this year in the playoffs. And it happened. So Derek Lewis, if you're here, I sent you the invite to this. Thank you for the call earlier that day to get me all fired up. He's a Commanders fan. Thank you for calling me 2 days earlier and talking about how your team was going to whoop up on us. And then, funny enough, you didn't call me after the game. So hopefully you're okay. For anybody else here, let us know who you're rooting for in the comments, the Eagles or the cheating Chiefs. And hopefully Joe Bass isn't here because she loves the Chiefs and I love Joe Bass.
Yeah, I don't know who Caleb is rooting for, but apparently your jersey is older than he is by a decade. So.
But Caleb, who are you rooting for? The Eagles or the Chiefs? That's the key point. So, but no, thanks everybody. Let us know who you're voting for in the comments. I will tell you, I want to give thanks to the people at DLA Finance for helping us put this on today. So DLA Finance, the Defense Logistics Agency, is a Department of Defense organization that supports the warfighter. And DLA Finance has some really cool roles. They have financial analyst, financial liaison, business analyst, accountant, and accountant systems roles in several different locations around the country. They've got small roles in San Antonio, Texas. The rest are at Fort Belvoir, Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area, Columbus, Ohio, Whitehall, and Battle Creek, Michigan. And so what's exciting about this is that their leadership is using direct hire and rapid hire authorities to bring veterans and military spouses into GS civilian roles. I know there's a lot of stress about GS civilian roles right now. They're still hiring. It's a Department of Defense organization. They are good. So if you are interested in an opportunity at DLA Finance, check them out on our Hire Military website. Pick the appropriate role. Read over what's involved. Note that the accountant roles require accounting credits and a degree with at least 24 accounting or accounting and business law credits. The other ones are different. Read over the roles, tailor a resume, and send it in to us. Apply online. And what we do is every week we provide those resumes to the DLA Finance team and work hand in hand with them to make sure that they are getting interviews of qualified candidates, and then they are using whatever hiring authorities they can to get you direct hire without having to go through the USA Jobs process. So super excited about this opportunity. We just had an offer go out this week for a candidate. And if you want to get on this as well, just go ahead and check it out on hiremilitary.us. But I'll tell you, we've been working with this team for about 3 months now, and I've been blown away by how much everyone we've met has loved what they do, love the team, love the room for growth, and the organization itself. What do you got, Olivia?
Well, I was just looking at these comments here. So Daniel is definitely not rooting for the Chiefs.
Perfect. He's probably a Bills fan.
Ryan says the refs are going to win.
Don't say that. Don't say that, because that means the Chiefs might win. That's horrible. Don't say that, Ryan.
Caleb is Eagles 100%. That's awesome.
I knew I like this Caleb guy.
And then I think I might agree with Damien on this. The couch. Yeah, the couch is going to win. I totally agree with that.
Or your stomachs after eating all the great Super Bowl food. So, no, that's exciting. Thanks for that, Olivia.
Yeah, well, we have a few topics to talk about today. First, why don't you tell us about the MSEP induction ceremony that you went to? Like, what is MSEP?
Yep. It was a great day yesterday. I was a little hesitant ahead of time. People may not realize this, but I'm an introvert. And so I can be extroverted. The Army made sure of that. But if I go to unstructured events, my social battery just drains fast. And so I have to make my way through events by finding anchors, which is pretty interesting. So I have to find somebody that I know or somebody that I can talk about a topic I'm comfortable with. Otherwise, if I'm just standing there by myself or I have to walk unstructured into a networking event, like, it wears me out. And so thankfully, MSEP is the Military Spouse Employment Partnership Program. And yesterday was the induction ceremony for new partners. And these are companies that have demonstrated a commitment to hiring and retaining military spouses. And so I think they're now up to over 1,000 employers that are a part of the program. Yesterday, they had about 250 employers, big and small. One of the ones was Chipotle, and I'm like, heck yeah, get me some Chipotle. But they had about 250 partners. We had Shireen Brown, the wife of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, come out there. Lee Kelly gave an amazing speech about, our support to military spouses, the great things the program's doing. And, I was excited to learn that they have an actual capability for MSEP partners to search military spouse talent. So there's a talent pool that you can access by joining the MSEP program. And so for any company that's committed to hiring service members and veterans, I always say, please include military spouses to the mix. Military spouses are the most economically disadvantaged group in the entire country, 24% unemployment. And a lot of people just don't realize that. And the other piece that I'll say is that sometimes I'll talk to companies and they're like, yes, we want to hire military spouses as well. And then they connect me to other people in the organization. And they're like, well, when are they going to move? And I'm like, time out. The average tenure in the country is like around 3 years. That's the average tenure for a new employee. And the average PCS is 3 to 4 years. And so, like, take it out of the equation and just understand that if you hire a military spouse, you are getting some amazing talent, incredibly loyal, very comfortable in gray space, right? And they get comfortable being uncomfortable, just like Olivia when she has to come on these. You'd never know she doesn't like it. Am I right?
Yeah, I'm just like you though, Mike, that introvert that can, extrovert when needed. So
awesome. Well, we got to do it.
Yeah,
so, and they're there again today. So I would encourage any of you, just Google MSEP, Mike Sierra Echo Papa. I can still do that 7 years later. Or the Military Spouse Employment Partnership, and check them out. I think it's a great program, and it's a Department of Defense program.
Yeah, so thanks for that plug. I think Christian might have been asking for a link to MSEP, but just like Mike said, you can Google say it one more time, MSEP.
Yep, MSEP, Mike Sierra Echo Papa.
Got it. Okay, cool.
You just Google Military Spouse Employment Partnership.
Perfect. Yes. Thank you for that. So moving on, tell us about your experience with VA healthcare, Mike.
Yeah.
I hear conflicting reports.
No conflicting reports. No conflicting reports. The conflicting reports are all from like a decade before I was born. And I'm saying that for our boy that was saying it was 10 years before he was born. But, you know, I've been involved in this space for a while. I retired about 7 years ago. And, you know, I'd been working with the VA and I'd met so many incredible people at the VA that cared so much. But for some reason, I never registered for VA healthcare. I had TRICARE. I thought that was okay, but I paid for copays for my CPAP stuff. They didn't give me new inserts, so my inserts went bad. Like, you had copays for a bunch of other stuff. I couldn't get chiropractic or acupuncture for my back. And like, I don't even want to talk about the military pharmacies. Like, whoever's responsible, I apologize if you're listening, but whoever is ultimately responsible for military pharmacies should be fired. Like, I hate to say it like that, but I have never seen a more inefficient run organization in my entire life. There's no reason I should have a doctor put in something and I have to wait 2 to 3 hours to get them. Like, if I can go to the local CVS and, you know, get it in 15, 20 minutes, like, okay, come on. So about a little over a year ago, I realized that, like, why am I not signed up for VA healthcare? And I didn't know why. And it was because I'd heard horror stories about it. And so I Googled it and it took me 3 minutes to sign up. Like, literally sign up, my personal information. They had access to all my, I'd have to download anything. Like, my medical records were all in there from TRICARE, everything. They called me and made my first appointment. My first appointment with my PCM at Fort Belvoir Hospital. I showed up. She gave me a business card. Like, hey, I'm your PCM. Here's my card with my email, my phone number. If you need anything, call me anytime. Like, and then she went over everything, put in all the referrals, and now I get chiropractic community care. So I go see a chiropractor and get acupuncture, no copay, 10 minutes from my house. I have new inserts. My CPAP was moved over. They sent me a year's worth of supplies and said, just go on and order more when you need them on the online My Health Vet system, and no copays. And, you know, they mail all my medicine. So if I get a prescription from TRICARE, I message my PCM and say, hey, can you move that over and put it on mail order? And she just does it like, like that. It's amazing. So I had my follow-up, my 1-year follow-up this year. And I'm so excited about this because it is the opposite of what I expected based on all the horror stories. But, you know, the key is using the My Health Vet app. When I first got on, I started trying to call people to schedule stuff. And the call volume's overwhelming. I couldn't get a person. I was getting so frustrated. So instead, I went into the My Health Vet app and I made an appointment with my PCM for a physical. And the first date was January 28th, I think. Yeah, January 28th. And it was like a month and a half out. Now, the beauty of this is that was the first appointment that's available. But 3 or 4 times between when I made it and when my appointment came up, the VA sent me a text and said, we have a new opening earlier than the one you have. Like, there's one this week. Somebody just canceled. Do you want it? Like, I couldn't take them, but I could have been in a week and a half. And so they did that. They sent me reminders. The day before, the nurse called me and did all the stuff. Like, what do you want to talk? Any issue? Labs, blood drawn, everything. And so when I showed up, I showed up a little early, signed in like 10 minutes early. They called me back for an 11 o'clock appointment at 10:58. Then everyone was nice along the way. The nurse took me back to call my vitals, took me right into my PCM's office. She discussed everything I wanted to discuss, put in referrals, put in medication, and I had to get labs, and I hadn't eaten or drinking anything. And I was dreading going to the Fort Belvoir lab, which has a lot of volume. And, you know, I had to do that through TRICARE, where they would give me labs and I'd have to go wait in that. I have to go take the card. And since I'm in civilian clothes and a retiree, I'm like a second-class citizen, rightfully so. I have to wait for the blood drawn and then just go through the conveyor belt of like stick, whatever. And I'm like, okay, do I just go to the lab? And she goes, oh no, we've got a lab right next door in our VA clinic. I walked in, there was two ladies that were sweet as can be. Probably gave me the best stick for blood I'd ever had. Took all the blood, they run everything there, and I was out. I was in, referrals put in, checked out, blood drawn, out of the building in 30 minutes. Like, I could not have had a better experience. And so, when I tell everyone that's out there, if you are eligible in any way, shape, or form, or may be eligible, go to that website and register for VA healthcare. I will tell you, even if you want to use TRICARE, you should register and have it. It's better to have and not need, and need and not have. My kids use the healthcare. We have a satellite clinic nearby. I use it for urgent care, right? But everything I can do through the VA, I choose to, because it's just been so exemplary. And so I just encourage everybody, sign up. And the one thing I'll say is, do not try to get people on the phone. Just use the My Health Vet secure messaging app. They have a requirement to respond in 2 business days. I send a note to my PCM. She either calls me back same day or responds within 24 hours. Hey, ma'am, can you submit me a referral for this? Sure, referral submitted. Like, then I forward that to the community care clinic. Hey, my referral's been submitted. Here's the email from my doctor. Can you get me my referral for my next batch of chiropractic care? Yes. Hey, can you move this medicine over? Yes. Hey, I need more medicine for this. Yes. Like, I mean, it's been life-changing. So please go sign up, take advantage of it. It is an entitlement that you should look into. So I get excited about this stuff, Olivia, but I also think that that there are a lot of people in our community that don't get the care they need, and some of that may lead to why there are suicide issues as well. And so I just want everyone to make sure they have that, because when I went to that clinic, like, there was like 4 or 5 like old school veterans with walkers coming in, and they all sat down next to each other. Like, they didn't know each other, and they were just chatting away. And I was just like, I love this. It's so great to be part of our community. So, all right, next one, Olivia.
Now, just consider that today's public service announcement. Go and sign up for your VA healthcare benefits.
I mean, it's not even public service. It's like transition content, like effing go.
Just do it.
That's it. But we can't say that. That's Nike. So just effing go. Just effing go. So
that's their new marketing line. Okay.
There you go. No, I don't think Paul Lawrence and team will allow that, but okay.
All right. So a little more of a fun topic. Let's talk about LinkedIn. And how do you make your LinkedIn profile pop for recruiting?
Yeah. So a different slant on this. So a lot of our community gets on LinkedIn originally because they want to be found by recruiters, right? They want to make themselves marketable, because a lot of people are scared to network and make that hard decision on what they do next. And so what I share is that, the billion people on LinkedIn, 95% of the Fortune 500 uses LinkedIn to source talent, which means they have recruiters on LinkedIn creating queries to fill their roles. So they have a job they need to fill. They'll do a search on LinkedIn. LinkedIn will pull up 200, 500,000 candidates. And our team does it as well. They're all on LinkedIn Recruiter sourcing candidates. And so mid last year, I got on LinkedIn for about a month or 2 because I wanted to make sure I was very proficient with the recruiter side of it. And so we had a recruiter seat that I logged into, and I did some searches, and I sent some notes out. I remember I sent out 20 messages to people that were open to work, that meet the criteria, that were in the location. They said they wanted a job. I sent out 20 notes on a job that was exactly what they were looking for. And I think I got like over the whole thing, I got like 6 responses, maybe 8. Like, it blew my mind. Like, if you're in a job search and a recruiter reaches out and says, I got a job for you, you should respond every time. And you should respond within 24 hours, even if it's just, hey, I'm not available right now, but can we talk next week? Like, whatever. But the beauty of it is I got to do the searches and really understand. So what I want to do is talk about how you make your profile show up in those recruiter searches. So like if a recruiter is searching for the job you want, ideally you are one of the people that shows up in that search and near the top because it ranks at 1 through whatever. And so the 5 tips are the first tip. And the most important is turning on open to work. Now, not just for the green banner, what a lot of people don't realize is that when you do a search on LinkedIn and all the results come out, they're bucketed into different categories. And the first category that shows up is open to work. That means whether they have the banner or not, these people meet the criteria and said they are open to considering a new job, right? They're available. And so, of course, you want to start with that when you have limited outreach. There's only so many, you have 300, 500 credits that you can send out every month. If you send it to them and they respond, you get your credit back. If you send a message and they don't, you lose the credit. And so, of course, you're going to send those people the response. They're the ones that said they're interested and they meet the criteria. So if you turn on open to work, you can increase the amount of times your profile is seen by 40 to 50%. Now, when to turn it on? I will typically tell people to turn it on when they are about 3 months from the day they can start, because that is realistically the earliest anyone that has a vacant role, like an actual vacant role they're trying to fill, can reach out and apply, right? Like if you apply to a job that's vacant and needs to be filled and you have 4 months until you can start, you're not really a good candidate because like they can't gap the role for 3 months or 2 months or whatever. And so usually I'll say turn it on about 3 months from the day you want to start working. Number 2, people don't realize this. So the first one is open to work. Over here is engaged with your brand. And what that means is they follow your company, right? And so I would do open to work and engage with the brand. These are people that know who the company is because they follow you. They want they like the company and they're open to work. It makes sense, right? So here's the deal. Any company you're interested in, any company you applied to or might apply to, go to their LinkedIn page and click follow on the company page. And that puts you in that little list right there. You follow the company, you're engaged with the brand. You could follow up to 1,000 companies. I highly doubt you're going to run out. Number 3 is adding skills. So when you start setting up your search for like a program manager or an HR manager or whatever, you know, you're going to have key skills that are going to be the foundational words of the first 3 to 5 must-haves or first 3 to 5, you know, descriptions in the JD, the job description. And so you want to make sure that those keywords are in the skills section, right? And so how do you figure that out? You can look at, if you have your LinkedIn Premium, you can look at jobs that interest you and see what keywords were listed, right, by all the other candidates, the top 10. You can go to job descriptions and see what's on there. You can check out other people's profiles and see what skills they've listed. But you want to add the keywords, and you can add up to 100. You want to add the keywords that recruiters might be searching for, right? And then if you get endorsements for them, meaning someone in your network clicked to say you're good at it, it weights them heavier, so you'll be higher in the search results. So, you know, in this case, you can't see who endorsed you for what. So I will say, like, go endorse all your friends for all their skills and get it endorsed back from them. It can only help you both. For me, if I don't know you, it depends on what your rank and jobs were for me. Like if you have a career field or you were a certain rank or title or whatever, I assume that you're going to know certain things. If it's outside of that, I'm not going to endorse you. 4, location. Look, like it or not, the vast majority of jobs in the country are going back in office or hybrid several days a week. So location is going to be key, right? When recruiters start their searches, they search for a location. So not only does it look for the current or past job title, degree, keywords or skills, you know, veteran status, it also will geographically bin based on the location on your profile. So I always tell people, make the location on your profile the first one, the largest metropolitan area where you are or where you want to be. For spouses, if you're PCSing, the moment you know where you're going, make it that new location and start networking there. And then if you go into open work, you can add up to 5 locations that will also help to filter the results. And then the last part is just content. Your match to what the recruiters are searching for is going to determine how high you rank. And so in a lot of cases, what I'll say is that treat LinkedIn like your master resume. Add all the quantifiable accomplishments or bullets for your experience section, for the about section, your education, your degrees, all the other stuff. make sure you have a complete LinkedIn profile so that not only do you show up in the search, recruiters can go look at your accomplishments and see how you might be a great fit. So those are my 5 tips to make your profiles pop for recruiters. And if it was too fast, you can check out these are all posts that I made this week.
Well, thank you for that. We do have a quick question along the lines of LinkedIn. LinkedIn user asks, should I go in detail with illustrating my career gap on LinkedIn and on my resume? And if so, in what depth?
So, one, there's no 100% correct answer. I will say it depends, right? It depends on how long the gap is. It depends on if the stuff before the gap is still really relevant to what you want to do next. And so my advice for this is, if the gap is I would talk to mentors in the field that interests you and get their specific take on it. It's a great way to engage your mentors, ask them specific questions to keep them engaged and keep their relationship strong. 2, if it is, use the career gap button on LinkedIn. I think career gaps are much more acceptable in today's world based on the layoffs and everything else that happened in the last year. But there's no real right answer to that. It all depends on what the gap was, how long it was, how it plays into your career experience, what you did before. Is what you did before still relevant? And have you done anything since that's going to make you go forward? So like with anything resume and career search interview related, my advice is always going to be find at least 5 people in that field that have been at the level where you want to go and ask them for advice, because it's going to be different for field, type of role, location, all that stuff.
Excellent. And we have time for probably one more. Marlon here asks, I missed last week, might have been talked about, but he's willing to move, just not anywhere. How do you navigate that on the platform? He hasn't tried open to work yet. So
Marlon, you get one location that's your primary location on the front of your profile. So go in and update that to where you want to be, the number 1 location where you want to be. And then when you put the zip code in, it's going to default to a local area. Go to the locations, make it the larger metropolitan area. I always advise that. And then when you go to open to work, if you're in that 3-month window, add 4 or 5, whatever lets you, other locations and open to work, which means when people on LinkedIn Recruiter are searching, you'll populate for those areas as well, which will expand the network there.
So definitely try the open to work. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes. And I do Mastering LinkedIn webinars every month. So we have another one next month. Just keep an eye out for that, or go to the USO transitions page. They got an event, Military Virtual Programming, that'll tell you, when the next one is.
All right.
And I think we're getting close, but I'm not going to go into the whole last category, Olivia, but I do want to touch it. So look, I have a whole bunch of tips. If you go back and look at my profiles, at my activity, you'll see that over the last week, one was my very first resume I wrote. And I shared 5 things about your resume that were wrong on my first resume that you should be able to get right. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Everyone starts their transition with, I need to get a resume. You get out of TAP and you start writing your resume. And I'm like, stop, time out. You don't know what you want to do yet. You don't know what people in that job do yet. You don't know what their biggest challenge is. You don't know what metrics they track, how they track numbers, all that stuff, right? So how are you going to write a tailored resume? And if you're still a year out, which you should be starting TAP a year out, you don't need a resume, because you're not going to need a tailored resume until you start applying this stuff. So I will tell people I wasted dozens, if not 40, 50 hours working on 17 volumes of a resume, sending it to people, ping-ponging around on advice. And all of it was not having any clue what I wanted to do for a living, right? Not having it. It was just a useless document. And so just what I'm going to tell everybody, go check out my post from a few days ago. You'll see the resume. It looks really well written, but it's a functional resume. The title is organizational leader. There's so much wrong with it now. I kind of chuckle when I look at it, but I want you all to just pause on the resume, hit pause. You don't need a networking resume. Hold on. If someone really desperately needs you to give them a resume, ask them for what job. Any generic resume is not going anywhere. It's just sitting in somebody's inbox. Talk to them, learn, figure out what you want to do, figure out what people in that job do, and then the resume becomes so much easier to write. And that's my advice for today. Olivia, I think we're on time 2 weeks in a row.
We're on time. All right. Yeah. Thanks, Mike. Thanks everyone else for joining us. And we will see y'all next week.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Jinx. All right. Bye, everybody.